1 million people forced from their homes, a truck flipped by the wind, more than 1,000 flights cancelled. Typhoon Dolphin has slammed into China with winds topping 150 kilometres per hour. Streets are flooding, trees are being ripped from the ground, and a 9-year-old boy is missing. And even as Dolphin weakens, the flood threat is far from over. Typhoon Dolphin has slammed into eastern China, forcing more than 1 million people to evacuate as torrential rain, powerful winds, and flooding batter the country's densely populated coast. The storm made landfall near Yuhuan in Zhejiang province at around 5:30 p.m. local time on August 9th, packing maximum sustained winds of 151 kilometres per hour. The typhoon formed near the Marshall Islands last month and travelled an unusually long distance across the Pacific before reaching East Asia. China issued its highest-level red typhoon alert as Dolphin became the most powerful tropical cyclone to hit the country this year. In Shanghai, the storm's winds were strong enough to flip umbrellas and flood streets, while the Shanghai Tower, the world's third tallest building, relied on its massive tuned mass damper to stabilize the structure.
Last night, it was almost a full night. And then I woke up this morning to find that the neighborhood was full of accumulated water, and then the road area was also quite flooded. Now we are seeing this state of affairs. I've lived in Shanghai for 10 years, and the first time since then I've experienced this kind of inconvenience caused by the typhoon and the accumulation of so much water. This is also the first time I've experienced this situation.
Since Shanghai and Nanjing are close to Zhejiang, and the typhoon lights are also near Zhejiang, I think Suzhou should still be slightly affected. But overall, it probably won't have much impact on the itinerary.
The storm triggered mass evacuations and widespread disruption, with more than 1,000 flights cancelled in Shanghai as authorities warned that heavy rain would continue across eastern China through the week. Footage from Sunday showed streets being battered by rain and wind, while residents struggled to hold onto umbrellas as powerful gusts swept through the region. In Wenzhou, eyewitness video showed a truck being flipped onto its side by the extreme weather. CCTV footage also showed rescuers clearing fallen trees, evacuating residents using lifeboats and stretchers, and responding to flooding and other hazards. Typhoon Dolphin's winds were particularly destructive in Yueqing City, where gusts reached up to level 15, or between 46.2 and 50.9 meters per second. More than 900 trees were damaged or uprooted in the city, blocking roads and forcing forestry workers and firefighters to work overnight to clear debris. Firefighters also carried out resident evacuations and removed dangerous objects from buildings, responding to more than 200 such hazards since the storm struck. Although Dolphin weakened to a tropical storm after landfall, China's weather authorities said it continued to bring torrential rain and strong winds to eastern regions. The storm's wider impact has included major flooding in Shanghai and several other provinces, with coastal areas facing continued risks of flash floods and landslides. In Shitang, a coastal town in Zhejiang, rescuers have also been searching for a 9-year-old boy who was swept away by a large wave on Friday. China's National Meteorological Center chief forecaster Wang Haiping told state broadcaster CCTV that Typhoon Dolphin would track westward after landfall before slowing over central and southwestern China and gradually weakening. The storm had already caused major disruption in Japan. Before reaching China, Dolphin battered Okinawa, injuring 6 people and cutting power to more than 50,000 buildings. As Typhoon Dolphin moves inland and weakens, authorities across eastern China remain on alert for continued heavy rainfall, flooding, landslides, and further disruption. Typhoon Dolphin is bearing down on eastern China, prompting the highest-level storm alert as authorities shut ports, suspend ferry services, and evacuate tens of thousands ahead of potentially destructive winds, flooding, and landslides. China's National Meteorological Center raised its typhoon warning to red, the highest level, on Sunday. At 10 a.m. local time, Dolphin was about 215 kilometers east of Wenzhou in Zhejiang, packing maximum sustained winds of 45 meters per second, or around 162 kilometers per hour, and moving west at up to 25 kilometers per hour. Footage showed rough seas pounding the coastline, fishing boats sheltering in harbors, and ferry terminals standing empty. Patrol vessels monitored waterways while offshore construction sites were shut. The precise location of some footage could not be independently verified. In Fujian, nearly 99,000 people had been relocated from high-risk areas by Saturday evening. All 1,210 fishing boats in Fuding had returned to port, while authorities suspended 55 passenger ferry routes and halted work at 115 offshore construction sites. Zhejiang imposed even broader restrictions. Taizhou raised its typhoon emergency response to level 1, the highest level, while all 162 passenger ferry routes across the province were suspended. Work also stopped at 193 offshore projects, and 474 construction vessels were moved to shelter. Forecasters warned that parts of eastern China could face torrential rainfall, with 250 to 440 millimeters expected along sections of Zhejiang's eastern coast. Rain and powerful winds are forecast to continue through August 12th, with some areas potentially seeing rainfall exceeding 80 millimeters an hour, raising the risk of flash floods and landslides. Typhoon Dolphin is expected to make landfall between Zhoushan in Zhejiang and Fuding in Fujian from Sunday night into early Monday, before weakening inland. The storm has already affected transport across the region. Shanghai's two main airports cancelled 1,384 flights, while Hangzhou suspended nearly 300, according to China Central Television. Rail services in parts of the Yangtze River Delta have also been suspended. The latest warning is China's second red typhoon alert of 2026, following Typhoon Noel in late July. The China Meteorological Administration also raised its emergency response to level 2 on August 9th. Typhoon Dolphin's wider impact has already been felt across the region. In Taiwan's New Taipei, a tornado swept through Tamsui on Saturday as the storm passed north of the island. The Central Weather Administration said the phenomenon lasted around half an hour. Local reports said a waterspout formed offshore before moving inland. Earlier, Dolphin also battered Japan's Okinawa, disrupting flights and cutting power to tens of thousands of buildings. With the typhoon now approaching China's densely populated eastern coastline, authorities are racing to reduce exposure before the storm's strongest winds and heaviest rainfall arrive.